own refineries were being utilized to refine the oil that they were getting from the USSR. America said, we are not allowing you to do that. Those are our refineries. That's when Cuba took over the refineries. And then America said, we're no longer purchasing the fucking, we're no longer getting the sugar from you guys. Fuck you. So then here's another little fact to know. During the period 1999 to 2019, Cuba managed to bring its infant mortality rate to lower than that in the U.S. Again, despite the U.S. blockade. And despite having a fraction of the GDP per capita. During this period, 101,674 children died in the U.S. due to mortality rates in excess of Cuba's level based on UN and CDC data. The blockade that we have had on Cuba has been ridiculous. None of this is new, by the way. It has been understood by development economists for a long time. Back in 1981, Amartya Sen himself noted Cuba's standout performance. The piece famously demonstrates that among developing countries, socialist economies tended to perform better in terms of social outcomes than capitalist ones. One thought that is bound to occur is that communism is good for poverty removal, he wrote. That's the real reason why we starved Cuba for years and years. And we've angered the Cuban population that remains on the island as well, for the record. This isn't to say that there aren't any Cubans that don't hate their government. Of course there are. Of course there are Cubans who think, oh, well, in times of tremendous economic hardship, in times of tremendous setbacks born out of the American blockade, the government has had to engage in austerity, right? Or rationing. And then they think that the government is rationing so they can like feed the Castro family, which they see as corrupt or whatever the fuck they envision, right? Oh, the government is actually rationing so they can like only aid the tourists, so they can have a functioning, competent tourism industry. The government is rationing because they hate us, the regular Cuban citizens, and don't fucking years. Do you understand anything? So woke they can't maintain their own country without outside support. God damn it. One day China is going to shut off the fucking faucet and all you Treatlerites alongside myself are going to fucking suffer the penalties. And then maybe they'll turn around and go, why can't you refine your own fucking rare earth minerals? Whoa, what's happening? Why can't you materialize rare earth minerals? You dumb fuck, stupid Amerifat. God damn it. I hate you so much. God, the fucking arrogance, the hubris of the suburban Treatlerites. Holy fuck. You know, we do deserve the fucking maniacal exterminationist welfare state of Israel slammed into our ass cheek like a fucking parasite, bringing the entire globe into a devastating energy crisis. We kind of deserve it, honestly. That's the average American's entitled attitude. Oh, they can't fucking trade with other people? Like, well, what country exists without trade with other countries, dude? What country exists? Stupid fucking Amerifat. Multi-millionaire. Maybe they shouldn't have enriched communist nukes. Okay, shut the fuck up. Pyongyang, baby? Fuck no. North Korea also fucking does trade with Russia and China. What are you talking about? China can't do shit, dude. Stop coping. They can thank the U.S. that they even exist today and they're not genocided out of existence. Once again, you'll see. You should thank whatever God you believe in every single day. You should be licking. Think about it. You're wearing clothes that were made in China by Chinese hands, with a phone that was made in China with Chinese hands, raw materials that were procured and refined in China with Chinese precise manufacturing, talking shit on the internet, on the internet that relies on infrastructure that, once again, gets components that were built in China by Chinese hands, talking mad shit. Huh, wrong. I'm a nudist and use the Trump phone. Castro took away my family store. Yeah, I mean, this is a classic yellow parenti on the Cuban Revolution
country,
here.
If you don't want to call them socialists, call them whatever you want. Post-capitalist, whatever. I don't care. Call them camels, window shades. Doesn't matter. As long as you know the countries we're talking about. You can look at any one of those countries, and you can evaluate them in several ways. One, comparing them to what they had before. And that, to me, is what's very compelling. That's what's so compelling about Cuba, for instance. When I was in Cuba, I was up in the Escambray, which is like the Appalachia of Cuba, very rugged mountains, people, very poor they were. And I said to this campesino, I said, do you like Fidel? And he says, sí, with all our souls. I remember his gesture, with all our souls. I said, why? And he pointed to this clinic right up there on the hill, which we had visited. He said, look at that. He said, before the revolution, we never saw a doctor. If someone was seriously ill, it would take 20 people to carry that person, because you'd go day and night. It would take 2 days to get to the hospital. First, because it was far away, and second, because you couldn't go straight. You couldn't cross the latifundio lands. The boss would kill you, so you had to go like this. And often when we got to the hospital, the person might be dead by the time we got there. Now we have this clinic up here with a full-time doctor. And today, a doctor in Cuba, when you become a doctor, you've got to spend 2 years out in the country. That's your dedication to the people. And a dentist who comes 1 day a week.
Slavery!
And for more serious things, we're not more than 20 minutes away from the larger hospital.
Slavery! What the hell? They're enslaving the doctors. Which, by the way, is a normal process that exists in countries like Turkey as well. I know to the average American, this is unfathomable. But when you get a fucking free education to become a goddamn doctor, okay, you get to work in areas of need. This is also the same in Turkey as well, which also has a nationalized healthcare system. Just so you understand, every competent fucking country on the planet that has a fraction of the interest of taking care of its fucking citizens understands this basic necessity. Americans, on the other hand, treat this like it's fucking slavery. They literally think it's slavery because they're fucking stupid. This is one of the biggest problems with Americans, is that they lack the imagination. They've never traveled outside of the United States of America. It's such a massive fucking country. So they just literally cannot comprehend a world that exists outside of the United States of America. So it doesn't exist because the average American lacks object fucking permanence. This system that exists in Cuba exists in virtually every fucking country that has a socialized system of healthcare.
That's in the Escambray. So that's freedom. We're freer today. We have more life. And
he's a lion. Okay, he is the GOAT. He was an incredible figure. But because he's Argentinian, you can't really hold it past him. When he was growing up, he wrote extensively. And he wrote some unfavorable things, okay? He wrote some unfavorable things people always point to. They'll also say that they were homophobic, which is ironic because Fidel literally apologized. Fidel Castro apologized for his initial homophobia, okay? I think it was like was it in the 80s when Fidel Castro had a perspective shift and openly released a statement apologizing. Don't put that. Wait, what do you mean? Don't put that. He grew out of being Argentinian. Someone said, don't put that on him being Argentinian. What do you mean? He was the greatest Argentinian of all time. The fuck are you talking about? Every Argentinian should be writing endlessly and reminding people all day, every day that Che Guevara was Argentinian. Yeah. Fidel Castro takes blame for persecution of Cuban gays. He cried. Fidel Castro said he is ultimately responsible for the persecution suffered by homosexuals in Cuba after the revolution in 1959. The former president told the Mexican newspaper La Jornada that there were moments of great injustice against the gay community. If someone is responsible, it's me. In the 60s and 70s, many homosexuals in Cuba were fired, imprisoned, or sent to re-education camps. Mr. Castro said homosexuals had traditionally been... The CIA was the most indecent, is still the most indecent institution on the planet, but like the shit that they were trying to do to this man is crazy. They tried to use one of his ex-girlfriends to assassinate him. She fell back in love with him. It failed. She turned. It's beast mode. He seduced her. It's kind of crazy. I think a lot of Zoomers don't know why, even in the United States of America, motherfuckers used to ride for Fidel Castro. Motherfuckers used to ride for Che Guevara. It was such a common revolutionary figure that there's still a holdover meme about like the Che Guevara t-shirts, right? There's a reason why people were wearing Che Guevara t-shirts, not because he's hot, even though he was, and so was Fidel, but it was because these dudes had maximum aura. Okay? They were mogging the entire state apparatus on a daily fucking basis. Che Guevara would literally, on his off day, go and work with the regular fucking workers. He'd be carrying bags of cement. He was like, I ride for this shit. I live for this shit. Che Guevara literally spent the last half of his life trying to liberate Africa. And motherfuckers still talk shit and say he was racist as an Argentinian teenager. The fuck do you mean? In the Cuban Missile Crisis by being belligerent to the USSR for zero reason and putting nukes there. Calm down. He was crazy himself. Wait, what? I know. I'm saying even for that man, it was the CIA was a little bit too crazy. It was my whole family store. My abuela was the youngest of 24 kids. You can show chat the restaurant. It's in Varadero, where the wealthy Americans and mafia went on vacation. The DuPont mansion and the Hemingway's boat are still there. As the only grocer in the city, we were close to them and picked up their capitalist brain rot. Anyway. Yeah, this is the go, right? So yeah, a lot of Cubans were like, damn, like this is why I say not every Cuban that is called a gusano, which is also the invention of, here, I'll give you something funny about gusano. Fidel Castro used to call the counter-revolutionary anti-communist Cubans gusanos, okay? Because they betrayed their own nation. They betrayed the dignity and sovereignty of the Cuban peoples. And they work with the Americans to do terrorism, like to kill their own countrymen, right? So you called them gusano, worm. The CIA took that and tried to reframe it as a positive. So there are still Cuban accounts on Twitter that call themselves gusanos. The CIA tried to make the word gusano cool. Do you know how fucking insane that shit is? Where you're just like openly calling yourself a worm because you're like, yeah, I'm a worm. I hate my people. Yeah. Yeah, this is, I've covered this before. In 1996, a Cuban pilot observed a U.S. government fumigation plane spraying. Oh, this never stopped, by the way. This never stopped. They would use like Cessnas. They would use, because it's 90 miles off the coastline. So the American government would consistently arm and offer material support to like straight up Cuban American terrorists. And they'd just be like, go crazy. They would ship them off to fly over the island and just like crop dust and destroy their agricultural output over and over again. Is one of the most evil and one of the most fucked up things, dude. In 1996, a Cuban pilot observed a U.S. government fumigation plane spraying an unknown substance over Matanzas province. Shortly thereafter, an invasive pesticide-resistant insect never before seen in Cuba, the Thrips palmi, was discovered devouring potato crops in Matanzas. The Thrips palmi was later found in neighboring provinces among corn, beans, pumpkins, cucumbers, and other crops. Despite the Cuban government's best efforts to eradicate the pest, the palmi plague persisted. The U.S. provided a flimsy excuse that the U.S. pilot was marking his position with a smoke generator, something this plane was not outfitted for and would have been unnecessary because the Cuban ATC had already radioed the U.S. plane asking if they were having any technical difficulties. The U.S. plane N3093M was operated by the U.S. State Department, supposedly to destroy drug crops in Colombia. In fact, combating drug trafficking was used as cover for covert biowarfare against the Cuban people. It's so fucking evil. Like, the shit that we did to Cuba is so fucking evil. That's why I always say, like, you want to know something? This is what Israel's doing in Lebanon. This is what Israel is doing in Palestine. Okay? So just understand that we haven't stopped doing this shit at all. And what Israel is doing is so close to what America has done over and over and over again. That's why it's like, it's a cold, hard pill to swallow. Can you at least give a trigger warning for all the juicers in here before you say the G word? You're hurting their sensitive ears with your foul slur usage. Oh my God. Yeah. Big Daddy Hoops, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Hasan, is now a bad time to resub? No. It's never a bad time to resubscribe. Scoop. Let's get back to America Big Bad. Scoop. Trump administration considering deploying thousands of additional troops to the Middle East as the military prepares options for a possible next phase of the Iran war. One option for securing the Strait of Hormuz includes deploying troops to Iranian shores. Oh my God, they're going to try to take Karg Island and the Iranian coastline. Ay, ay, ay. Uh-oh, another wife condemnation incoming. Rama Dawaji, the wife of New York City Mayor's arm, I'm not sure, several posts glorifying Palestinian terrorism on all social media accounts that remain active. Dawaji also used the N-word. Oh, wait, what? This is what it is. If it does good for my cause, I'll be happy to accept death. The caption read, Khalid, longtime member of the PFLP, one of the coolest people of all time. A U.S. designated terrorist organization? Yeah, fuck you, dude. Yeah, PFLP is fucking awesome. Suck my dick. Imagine getting mad at a fucking Layla Khalid repost. Like, what are we doing at this point? That's crazy. Uh-oh, another wife condemnation incoming is so funny. Oh, I hate my chud anti-Semitic wife. Once again, maximum support to Rama Dawaji, okay, in these trying times. I hate my based ass wife, dude. This is part of the reason why I was saying, like, you can't give the Zionist lobby any fucking room, dude. You can't. You just, because they're gonna come after you over and over again. They're gonna find you participating eventually in activities personally, you know? She was also like 16 for the N-word tweet that they found. Oh my God, they should put her in jail. New York City First Lady. First Lady Rama Dawaji used the N-word in an X post from 2013. Brother, it was not called X back then, okay? It was called fucking Twitter. And it was in 2013. Oh my God. Tumblr included a post blaming white people for creating Al-Qaeda. True. And disparaging U.S. troops fighting abroad is not brave, nor are they fighting for anyone's freedom. Double true. Oh my God. The more I read about her, the more I'm like, she's cooler than Zoran. She's so much cooler than Zoran. It's crazy. Yeah, no, the N-word thing is like, yeah, she's 15. I don't give a shit. Okay. And neither do you. Don't even act like this is. Yeah, don't try to come at me and be like, oh my God, it's not your place. Like, come on, okay? She was 15 fucking years old. If you're really gonna stress this, you're out of your dang mind, okay? In July 2015, New York City First Lady Rama Dawaji retweeted a thread that said, "Fuck Tel Aviv, shouldn't exist in the first place." Yeah. She's so awesome, dude. Oh, maybe she should have ran for mayor. New York City First Lady Rama Dawaji shared these images on our Tumblr account. Left, a Palestinian woman sewing a flag, caption, photography. A Palestinian demonstrator sues a Palestinian Liberation Organization flag before a protest during the first Intifada. Can you shock your dog for me, please? I don't like dogs. No, I can't, but I can shock you. Place. Right, a Bangladesh postage stamp featured an armed terrorist with the slogan, "We salute the valiant freedom fighters of Palestine." On International Women's Day, New York City First Lady Rama Dawaji retweeted a post praising Shadia Abu Ghazaleh, another PFLP terrorist. Yo, she was riding hard for PFLP. Ghazaleh participated in the bombing of an Israeli bus and led several other terrorist attacks. Ghazaleh was killed in 1968 when a bomb she was building in her home, which she intended to use to blow up a building in Tel Aviv, exploded accidentally. New York City First Lady Rama Dawaji, we already saw the N-word thing.